I have just two quick things for everybody. The first thing, I sent you guys, everybody, two quick emails. The first one is about the Epcot trip. Those of you that have been in the building know about the Epcot trip. I just wanted to just address it to everybody this year because this year it's a combined 8th and 9th grade field trip. So it's basically, it's affecting all the teachers in the building instead of just half of the teachers in the building. Next year, it will be an 8th grade field trip. So we'll go on into the 8th grade field trip. So you received an email from me that gave you the list of students and the dates and all that information as far as when it is. We're going a little bit later than we normally go. So we're going the week of Martin Luther King Day. So they're missing 4 days instead of 5 days of school. So it's one less day of school that they're missing. Last year we ended up having 2 or 3 snow days during that week anyway, so it worked out nicely. We'll see this year and see how it goes. So there's all that information. I have the major parent meeting for all the students that are going next Tuesday night. And at that parent meeting, I will instruct the kids to come talk to you guys before they leave for final exams. Now, usually, it's like the week that we get back, so I have them try and get as much work done during Christmas break as possible. However, because it's 3 weeks staggered in, I don't know how you guys want to approach kind of getting work and stuff done as much beforehand. So if there's something like, if there's a book that they need to read or if there's something like that, I'm going to tell them that they need to be working on that kind of stuff during Christmas break. So as much as they can get done ahead of time, that's great. And so they should be talking to you individually, but there's the sheet that I gave you has two. It's got an 8th grade sheet and a 9th grade sheet to give you who's doing what, when, where, all that kind of information. So I just kind of wanted, as a whole building, you guys to know that because it is a change from previous years. And this year in Woodland, we've got 46 students going. So overall in the district, there's 80-something kids that are going. So it's a big trip this year. It's a great trip. As part of the educational part of it, they're in classes every day. They have 10 essays they have to write for me during that week, as well as do a big, huge, major project whenever they get back. So they're doing a lot of really neat stuff while they're there. And so if you want to be able to trade assignments with them or say, okay, well, you can turn in one of the essays and if you wrote for Miss Asbury to me, we can work on that if you want to kind of figure out how to do work stuff for that. So that's first thing, just Epcot field trip, wanted everybody to just kind of know and just quickly address information. But all that information that I told you is in the email that I just sent out about 3 minutes ago. Second thing is semester test. So I'm switching gears now. Gradebook, yay, your favorite thing. Semester test for gradebook. What I've done is they just turned this on. I've had several people asking, and so I've been asking the district, trying to get them to fix this, and they finally fixed it for us. So I'm going to show you this quick. It's about 2.5 to 3 minutes video that shows you how, and then if you want, we can log into somebody's and kind of actually see. But this kind of pretty much explains how to enter in semester test grades and how it's going to all calculate and things like that. So without further ado, hopefully they're good. Yes, it works.
Before we look at loading semester grades without using the semester exam category, please be sure that all assignments and grades have been entered for the semester. To load semester grades, click on the RC link of the course we want to load grades for.
You've sent us a copy of this video, right?
Yes, I sent you a copy of
Since
this
we
video
are not
as well.
using the semester exam category, semester exams must be keyed in here.
What's the title of that? It says an EXM, so it says exam on it. So the first quarter it says MP for marking period, then it says EXM, then it has SEM
To
for
load
semester.
marking period and semester averages, click on Load from Gradebook. This is asking me if I want to save changes, which are my entries for the semester exam. I'm going to click Yes here. As you can see, my marking period grade, or 9 weeks grade, loads in, and my semester average. If your district chooses to print comments on a report card, enter the comments in this area. you can do the drop down and select the comment that you want to show on the report card. Or if you know the comment codes, you can key those in. If your district allows an override of a grade, then we can do an override here. Once I key in the new grade, the override flag is checked. Please be sure to follow your district's policy when loading grades. Click Save to save your entries. It's a good idea to go to the summary page and print this out to keep for your own records. Click the Report Card Entry button to return to where we have loaded grades. Click My Classes to return to the My Home page. The green check mark beside the RC link indicates that grades have been submitted and have been loaded into eSchool.
Couple questions that I've gotten that just, if you have questions. So that should be able to tell you for exam how to do it. As far as I know, exactly, some people had a few little mishaps with first quarter grades, and so they ended up having to take an assignment out or do some different things. But first quarter grades are set. So if something happened with first quarter grades and you want to make sure that they didn't get changed or something like that, first quarter grades are not going to be pulled again. So whatever the first quarter grade was for that child is the first quarter grade for that child. So it will pull that from ABSCAN to do the exam. So the exam will be the same thing. There is only one exam column, so as before in our old grade book, we could enter in, 2 or 3 different assignments, like a writing portion and a essay, and a multiple choice portion, and it would average it together. Unfortunately, we have one exam button for that, so you're going to have to do that average yourself and just put in whatever that average for the semester exam is on the semester exam. For transfer grades, what you would do, and this is one thing I'm not certain as far as the order, and they're getting back to me on it, but for transfer grades, so if a student came in halfway through the second quarter or something, whenever you load from gradebook, then after that, that's when you'll override that grade on just the report card screen. So you'll just do, if they were here for 5 weeks out of the semester, 5 nights for your grade and 4 nights for the other grade, and then do that percentage average for the average grade for that quarter. I'm assuming that whenever you override that, it will automatically change the semester grade, but I don't know that for certain. So we'll have to kind of play with that and see. Those are the major questions that people have asked me. Any other questions that I can either find out or answer? Yes.
So if someone did come middle of this second 9 weeks, like how does that first 9 weeks grade?
I haven't gotten an answer back yet from the first 9 weeks grade yet. I'm assuming they're
I have
going
no
to.
idea what his first 9 weeks grade was, whatever he was.
So
I got an email where I got in his grade and then I got a current grade when he checked out. I did get it.
You did.
You might want to talk to one of the counselors, too. I know they're in a meeting this morning.
I may be able to answer that one, because I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
The grade that shows right now is the 9 weeks grade.
Correct.
Is there any way we could possibly see what their semester grade is? I've got a lot of kids saying, well, what is my semester grade? And there is no way this jump machine or whatever we're using shows you that stuff as far as I can find.
Okay, I'll make a list of, I don't know the answer, but so C semester grade.
It's a great system.
So to view, I will ask and I'll get these questions answered and then get back with you. Yes.
I'm presuming English does a quarterly assessment during finals, but it doesn't go in as a final grade. Do we have to physically go in and put X's and counting everything as 0? We could just leave it blank.
I think you can just leave it blank, but I'll double check on that as well. So if your final isn't 20%, then just put it in as a second quarter grade, and I'm pretty sure it'll just have a blank count as nothing, but I'll double check on that too.
While we're on the topic of semester tests, just a few reminders. I sent out that email the other day just talking about the students, we're not gonna let them leave the testing period, so once they're in, so don't let them in the hallways for anything, and make sure you respect that testing environment, keep them quiet, and they can't check out through the office during that period. Now, they will bring you a slip, like, you know, if you're the 6th period teacher, 4th period, 2nd period, on the different days, they'll bring you the slip, so you'll be the judge of whether or not they can go. If not, they go to the cafeteria. There'll be a sign-up sheet in the office where you can pick a half-hour slots that afternoon. So if you would, just please sign up for some half-hour slots and just kind of watch. The kids in the cafeteria, the expectation is that they're studying, so don't let them watch movies on their phones or anything like that. They're in there. Once they get there, they can leave. So if they can be checked out anytime during that time, you can let them use their phone to call home or something like that. But don't just let them sit there on their phones all day. Anybody else have any questions about semester tests? Okay. Cynthia?
I'm just going to do a brief PARCC, kind of some information. And some of you know this, some of you may not have any idea about this. And so I just wanted to, we wanted to make sure that as we're ending this semester and we're heading into 3rd quarter, that we're kind of, this is on our minds as we're thinking about this. Before we get started with this, and before I give you some information, I just want you to talk to the person next to you, or if you're at a table, the table, and I want you to just kind of talk, what are some of the things that you know about PARCC? What are some of the things you know about PARCC? Just a minute.
And I honestly don't know.
There can be multiple answers.
So what
There
can
can be
you tell
multiple
us?
answers. Not just one There can be 5 answers, and there might be 2 or 3
So they have to know how to do that so that they don't waste time. Yeah, they don't waste time. Yeah, because they'll waste time playing.
Some are easy, some are not. Some are tough for me. Doesn't matter if it's like this.
Right. With the calculator, because there's other shapes to be things like that. So all that.
Not quite.
No. You know what? Not only that, like I was a survey all these questions. One of them was, what do you think about the Common Core? And I'm just like, I don't know. They forgot about science. I have no idea.
Okay, guys. Science education.
Yeah, STEM.
That maybe you and the person sitting next to you or somebody at your table mentioned, what are some of the things that we, that you know about PARCC, or that maybe you've heard about PARCC? Don't make me call on you.
Table.
Huh?
What did you hear at your table?
I have a concern.
Yes, ma'am.
I talk the whole time, of course. I've been going in to D1 and watching different classes take the test and kind of, trying to see what the problems were. One of the tests is 85-minute long session. Are we going to make 8th grade boys sit there for 85 minutes without taking a break and getting up and walking around? And I think there's a lot of logistics left to work out. They're going to be sitting shoulder to shoulder, headsets. I just think there's a whole lot of stuff that we need to be thinking about, and I don't know how to solve some of those problems.
Well, and in answer to that, kind of David's and Joe's jobs, as far as logistics are concerned, I'm trying to figure that out. It is. I mean, in a junior high building, how does this look? How do we not disrupt classes for 3 months? Because that's what it's going to boil down to. How do we do this to where that it's not a giant, humongous logistical nightmare? So yeah, there are some concerns, and I don't know that
that it's all figured out in our building or in even other buildings. So, you know, I don't think that it's just Woodland, it's at McNair, it's at the elementary schools, it's at the high school. I'm still trying to work those things out.
Since Terry, she was in, I think with some of my boys. I think she was coming in as some of them were leaving. And they were just talking about, oh my gosh, that was killing me sitting there, and it was, might have been 40 minutes. Do we know yet? Is there a time? I mean, can they, because I asked them, I said, okay, tell me, what would you need? Would you like to be able to have, I can walk down the hall and get a drink? Do we know, I mean, is it, when you're in there?
Well, they haven't talked about breaking up the session. The sessions can be paused. As a district, we haven't discussed, you know, how we're going to do breaks and how we're going to work that out. We've been focused on the bigger picture as far as getting technology and allotting the time per building, but that's definitely something I'll talk to Sarah about. I don't see that there would be a problem with taking a standardized break time. Saying that everybody in the building has this time for break, but I'll still check with her to make sure.
I do know that they reduced some of the times. They realized after they piloted it that some of the time was way too long because it didn't need that time. So they reduced it, and according to what Sarah said in one of the last meetings I sat in with her, that basically they gave the kids what the bulk of them took, you know, what the bulk of the kids needed, and then they added like 30 extra minutes. And here's the thing that's nice about PARCC, different from Benchmark, is that once those kids get finished, they can pick up a book and they can read. They can pull out a piece of paper and they can draw. They can, so that it's not going to be the same kind of structure that Benchmark was. They're going to, some of those kids who are just desperate to, pick up that book.
Their issue wasn't they finished.
Yes.
It was like
The length of the test.
Just sitting there looking at a screen
For that amount of time.
That's different from playing a video game that's 10 feet away from a large screen television.
I personally think that part of it's gonna go better than Benchmark. Because Benchmark, the amount of time is so excessive and so many kids are so bored and can't do anything. You put a screen in front of kids. Now, I've given the Algebra 2 end of course exam in the past, and I will tell you the issue with that, which was a similar time thing. It was 2 1.5 hour time spans, and I had them eat lunch in between. And these were really strong kids. And what they said was excessive is 70 questions hard coming at them that it's really hard to keep focused. And that was probably the closest thing to PARCC that we've ever had. It was hard, and that just relentless hard questions that don't quit is a little, I'm afraid kids won't try as hard as they should.
Hey, if we as a school, do we have a choice and a strategy as far as, you saying letting kids read is a good thing. It's not a good thing.
No.
Because if a kid has a good book, they don't care about that part. They're going to read the book. Whereas if they know the choices, like I'm stuck sitting here anyhow, we have a chance of convincing them. But if they could draw, read a good book, or they have a choice, is that a district decision or is that a school decision?
It's allowed, is the key word. They're allowed to read. It's nothing that we're told that they have to do. So they are allowed to read in the session after they finish their test.
Are we allowed not to tell them that?
But the problem is they built in a 30-minute window, but a lot of kids are going to have 30 minutes.
Well, and here's the part about it too. With PARCC, what they've decided to do is that if your whole group, and they're by no means saying promote this, but if your whole group finishes your testing session early, then you can end that testing session.
Okay, that's horrible.
So, but it's like Sarah says, it's nothing that you want to promote to the kids and say, look, if you finish this, we can get done early.
We've had teachers illegally stop sessions because they thought everybody was done. Right. And I've had kids come to me and say, hey, look, I wasn't done. But other people were done, and they wanted to quit.
Yeah.
And that, if our low kids are going to work that whole time,
Yeah.
They're not gonna
Well,
work.
I'm not
if
saying
they
by any
can
means
take
cut a
off.
kid off, but they have the allotted period of time. They can take as much of that as they want to. I'm saying as an administrator, if you're giving the test and you see that there's 5 extra 10 minutes left at the end of class and everybody's clearly done, then you can then end that session. It's not going to be like with the paper-based test where they just close their book and
this
say,
one they're gonna
okay, they're done.
submit.
You're going to clearly know that they're done because they'll have a stop screen basically. So there won't be any of that going back and check or cutting a kid off and not allowing them to go back and check.
I will say the difficulty level on the math, I can see half the kids still working at the end. It is hard, and if you're working on it, you're gonna use all of the time. I don't think that there's that much extra time built in. And there may be a few kids finish quickly, but your brightest kids are gonna it's not gonna be like the benchmark. Your brightest kids are gonna work really hard because the problems are really hard. So you won't have that huge group of.
And people think that they're gonna of there being, 2:30 to 5 done, and they're gonna be stretching.
Right, because any kid that's smart's gonna try to.
As far as accommodations,
I'm gonna talk about accommodations in just a minute. Yes, sir.
To kind of go along with what Lou's saying, in agreement there, and then what Marshall was saying, we've always grouped kids alphabetically, and then we pull out the ones that, may have accommodations or whatever. If that is the case, and kids are intimidated by the other smart kids finishing, and they stop trying, why don't we base groups upon high kids are kind of together, and the kids that maybe we need to get over that hump, maybe we can kind of put them together so they don't feel as threatened, and they can focus on what they're doing, because they're all going to kind of finish about the same time.
Well, what we can do closer to testing time too is kind of try to catch some of those kids that you feel like could use a small group
I'm
accommodation.
just going off of what Lou said, you got a kid that's intimidated and quitting early.
We don't have to have
Maybe that will
anything.
intimidate.
We don't have to have anything written in an IEP 504 or anything that says you have to have it in a plan to get small group accommodation. You can give that to any kid. Okay. So if we have a kid that we feel like could really, really benefit from it, I'm not saying like every other kid, but if we have a kid that could really benefit from it that doesn't do well in that testing environment, then we can help identify those closer to testing time so we can give them that accommodation.
Other things? Not trying to cut anybody off, but this is what I need to know, and I think timing wise, I don't know that we have time to show it. There was a little math video that was talking about the overview, so that some of us who have not been in there doing the practice park math portion of it could see kind of what Marcia and Lou are talking about, and in the difficulty that these kids are going to have, because it's not even just the concepts, which are hard enough. It's the computer and how that the kids are going to have to be doing these, doing these problems on the computers. So I was going to show you that, but I'll send this PowerPoint to you, and I would encourage you to look at this stuff. The key to all of this is if you would go online and start familiarizing yourself with PARCC. That's the biggest thing that you can do for your kids as far as helping, is getting in there and kind of knowing what's coming, so that like I said, you can use opportunities in your classroom to kind of help them. Be it you have the computers for a project, and you create something that is going to kind of give them some opportunities to practice some of those computer skills that they would need for that test, or whether or not I have a handout I'll give you in just a second, that PARCC critical verbs. They're verbs that they're going to see over and over again on the PARCC test that you can start using in your classroom, and using them in your objective, using them just in homework, or in just your language, so that they get comfortable seeing them. So when they sit down in front of that computer that day and they hear or they read a word and they're like, oh my, I can't remember exactly what that means, then that's just one more obstacle that they have to overcome. I am going to show you this video is really short. doesn't matter. But like if you go here, if you click on the video, you can choose, you can do an overview of secondary ELA, or you can do an overview of the secondary mathematics. I would encourage you to look at both of them. The ELA one is a little bit shorter, the math one is about 5 minutes, the ELA one's about 4 minutes. Gives you an overview about what the kind of, the test is kind of set up and how the kids are going to kind of have to deal with the content, the skills, as well as the computer. Representative, but I feel like that we do. I mean, we have to hold our kids accountable. We have to hold teachers accountable for what we're teaching. And so, this is here. We need to do what we can in order to get our kids, get our kids ready for it. And when I was talking to Mr. McClure about it earlier, I said, we can teach the content, we can teach the skills all day long, and that's what I know most of you guys are doing. It's it's that this test is so different than what they're used to. We don't want to double whammy them. I don't want them to walk in and not have the ability to deal with the computer and the online test. I want them just to be able to go in and feel really comfortable with how they're testing and just worry about, okay, what is it that I know? So that's really kind of where we're coming from as far as kind of things that you can do. Just a couple of quick things. Park dates. There's 2 times that we're taking the park. We're taking the performance-based assessment, which you will see that abbreviated in things, and it's called the PBA. March 9th through April 10th, there's 3 literacy tests and 2 math tests. And fortunately, different than the benchmark, they're not going to sit down and have to test for an entire week. I mean, your kids will only test for a couple of actually not even full days, just a couple of times over the course of like a week, and then they'll have a break, and then they'll come back and they'll do the math portion later later on. So it's going to be broken up. They claim that the amount of testing, if you combine all of the testing, it's no more than what they tested during the benchmark. So the amount of testing time, if you compile all of this, is no more than the 4 days of testing that they did during benchmark. So we didn't add any more testing time. We just broke it up and we kind of made it a little bit differently, or set it up a little differently. The end of the year, which again when you see it abbreviated would be EOY, is April 27th through May 22nd, and there will be 2 literacy tests and 2 math tests. And this year, different than any than in the past, but 8th and 9th grader testing. So, it is the logistics part of it, and testing the entire building, and testing in these windows is kind of, I think, a little overwhelming.
Those are big windows. When will we get our dates?
They're out.
Yeah, well, we have some, they're not 100% set yet, but we have some tentative dates and try to be as fair as possible with math and ELA and who tests when and all that. Logistics is still a little bit of an issue, trying to work through that, but we'll get those dates to you here pretty soon, at least the tentative ones.
How does this work, God? am I supposed to take, like, at a certain time, take my class down there, or has it anything to do with me?
It will have something to do with you. I don't know whether or not, necessarily he will be testing, but yeah, it's going to, there's gonna be times when your kids, your class of kids will be testing.
Okay.
So yeah, similar to the benchmark, it's going to disrupt the schedule to a certain degree.
Okay, but we'll get something that says that it's all about planning. Yeah, planning what you're teaching that day and find out you don't have.
Well, and
any
it
kids.
could be a kid that you're proctoring. So
Okay. So we'll get that though, right?
Yes, you'll have that information.
Good. As long as I can plan.
Maybe even end of January, so
Just some accommodations, and again, I would highly encourage you to get online and start looking at the PARCC thing, because there's a lot of information out there for all students, things that are available to all students that the benchmark never had, that you just didn't have as an option. All students will have access to highlighting. All students will have access to the ability to eliminate answers, like they can cross out answers on there. Then they will also have access to something called line readers, which puts a little box on the screen and it narrows it and they can read like line by line, which for some kids that's really helpful, especially when you're looking at large passages. All students will have access, but these accommodations must be turned on, and we would have to get this information to Sarah ahead of time. Not weeks ahead of time, but at least several days ahead of time. Answer masking, text-to-speech for math, and then the background font color, because they can change that, and sometimes that's helpful to kids that they can change that background font color as well. For all accommodations for 504, IEP or LPAC students, they have small group testing and extended time. And from what I understand, extended time means as much time as they need that day. So if I have a literacy test and I take it in the morning, then they can have the remainder of the day to finish taking that test. So there's just some accommodations. This is the last thing, and I'm not going to, this I would encourage you to go here. And like I said, I'll send this PowerPoint out to you. This is the people who are doing the test, the PARCC test. It's Pearson, Pearson Access. And what I really want you guys to look at is this test preparation. View test preparation. There's sample items, tutorials, and practice tests. The math people have been doing the practice test. The ELA people have been doing the practice test for those two. But you need to go online and look at those tutorials. The tutorials give you exactly the kind of stuff that the kids are going to be doing on these tests, showing you exactly the types of features that are going to be that the computers are, that the test is going to ask the kids to do, that they need to be comfortable with, that you could help in your classroom.
Is that kid friendly?
Is it kid friendly?
Yeah.
I give them that. That's where I take them. When all of the kids that are practicing, I take them to this page and I show them that they have these videos, that they have sample questions, that they have English and math.
Well, the reason that you need to know it, the point behind you knowing it is that you can help students in the classroom. Like I said, you create a project, you have the computers, you do something with the iPads. There's lots of opportunities, and again, I'm glad to help you do this, create opportunities with things that you're already doing, that they can practice some of these skills. We do this in ELA quite a bit with those two-part questions. So I promise you, there's things that you can do in your classroom to help students. And again, ask me, I'm going to give you the critical verb sheet that you can hopefully start using. And some of these words I'm sure you are already using. So I'll send it to you.
Stephanie's going to say something real quick about the calendar for next year.
How many of you have gone to that website that either Mr. Colbert or I sent out? Was it impossible?
It was difficult.
Give up. Don't want you to give up, so I thought I could just run through it real quick to show you what it looks like and where to vote. It's already taken down, but if you go to the link, you have to sign into Moodle. I don't know who did Moodle, but he did Moodle. You go to Moodle, you log into the course for calendar voting. Log in, and it says cast your vote here on a blue link, and I know that says that because I clicked on it 5 times and was sent to the same page.
The enroll me thing.
If you go to the far left, on the bottom, it says enroll me in this course, and it's a button. You click that. It looks a little bit different than the other one. Then it'll send you that cast your vote page. On the very, very, very bottom, you have to go all the way down to the bottom, and it says vote here. So don't stop at the cast your vote here. Keep going down, and it has a little button there. It says vote. Go to the page to vote.
You got to go to enroll me, then you got to go to enroll.
Yeah.
And it finally comes up.
Yeah, so just please don't give up on voting, because I think the last one we did for whatever, something else that they sent out, only 700 teachers voted, and it's kind of abysmal at PPC when you hear, oh, out of 700 teachers, 48 said this and 52 said that. So it's like last night's voting, it's so close, it's like what would have happened if you guys would have just known. So I'm just telling you that it's really important that you vote, because the calendars are, both of them, they both have good points and other points. So I'm saying.
Hey, Stephanie, this probably makes no difference. Why did they use Moodle?
I have no idea. The Survey Monkey was so easy. I don't know. I didn't know.
Hey, just real quick, we're running out of time here, and I just want to make you aware of something that's already out there, but it affects Woodland. And these are the classes that we're gonna have next year, 7th and 8th grade. And I know that's hard to read, and I'll tell you what, I'll send you guys an email with these class descriptions on there. But what it's going to be is 8th grade, we're going to have several new classes. I'll go ahead and start with 7th grade. We're going to do 4 Project Lead the Way classes, and these are going to be 9 weeks apiece. And I can show you the scheduling and how that's going to work. The Science of Technology, Magical Electrons, Green Architecture, Flight and Space, those are going to be the 4 Project Lead the Way classes that we're going to have here. And 7th graders will have the option of taking, if they take band, choir, or orchestra, then they could take 4 of these electives, and we have 11 altogether. If they don't take band, choir, or orchestra, they can take 8. The other classes on there are foreign language classes. We have a foreign language acquisition for French, German, Spanish, and again, it's a 9-week introductory. The theme of this is introductory to classes that they're going to take when they go up to 8th and 9th grade. So it's going to be an introduction to the foreign languages. And they'll be able to take French, German, Spanish. Art is also going to be included in that. The art of writing, we're going to drop to 7th grade, and it's going to be a 9-week course at 7th grade. It's on the next page. So, so art of writing, service learning is going to be our FACS class for 9th grade. For 7th grade, they're going to have a 9-week service learning class, or the option to take it. In theater arts is going to be an introduction class. So those are the classes that 7th graders will have the option of taking. They will rank those classes instead of saying this is what I want. We'll put them in the classes based on how they rank them, because ultimately we have to fill sections. So they're going to have a lot more choice next year as 7th graders. And if they're all the classes that we're offering, all the 9-week classes lead into an 8th grade or 9th grade class that are the same.
So these are all 9 weeks?
These are all 9 weeks classes that I just showed you. And then 8th grade, at the bottom. Okay. So 8th grade, we're dropping a few of the classes down. So the film class is going to go down to 8th grade in Introduction to Audio Visual Technology. It's going to be semester. Intro to Computer Science is a new class that Mr. Cartwright is actually going to be piloting next semester. It's one of the few classes anywhere where they can create their own app. You want to say a little bit about that, Chris?
Oh, yeah, and by the way, this is a week of coding too, so if you're interested in coding, in your class is a good time, but it will be introducing kids to computer programming, and they'll be writing apps for Android tablets. And so we are the only school in the state that's offering the pilot, and probably will definitely be the first to offer it in the state full-time next year.
Awesome. Chris is one of the few people in the state that can teach that, or the only person. So Intro to Drama Theater, we're going to have an 8th grade version of Intro to Drama Theater. And an intro to journalism. So that intro to journalism is going to be a year long. It's going to take the place of our journalism class now. It'll do the yearbook and it'll do the newsletters.
Are the rest of the semester, or are those all year long?
Those are all semester except for the intro to journalism. Just want to show you those. They've been approved by the different committees.
What about that 8th grade pre-AP physical science?
Yeah, now those I'm not sure yet. I know we're going to have pre-AP history or whatever it's going to be. Is Joe in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still yet to be determined, but there'll be an 8th grade pre-AP class. And I don't know that there's been an actual final determination.
No, okay, we understood that it was approved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that came from Betty Gamble.
Okay.
Told me yesterday.
Well then, so
It
9th
was.
grade will have a pre-AP, or no, 8th grade will have a pre-AP physical science. And that'll be the only pre-AP class in 8th grade will be the physical science. So hopefully, hopefully what this will do in 7th grade is build knowledge for when they go into those elective classes in 8th grade. And also help support us in the STEM and science and math, and also literacy with the art of writing. Anybody have any questions over those? And I'll send you an email out that gives you those course descriptions and everything, and even kind of how the schedule might work. All right, remember finals coming up. Send a copy of your final to the office to me, or your project, whether it's a test or a project. I just need a copy of those.
Are you wanting it before the test or
Before,
during?
please. You can email or just bring a copy.
To the office?
To the office or to me?
Either one?
Either one. Well, ultimately it'll come to me, so you can drop it off in the office, but ultimately digital version would be great. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great